Today is Wednesday, January 29th, 2025, and these are your BYU-Idaho Radio morning headlines. Thanks for listening. I'm Brianna Latouche. A dead elk found east of Pinedale, Wyoming, tested positive for chronic wasting disease earlier this month, marking the first such death inside a Wyoming feed ground. According to the Wyoming News Service, after a multi-year study of feed grounds, one wildlife manager said the incident hits home. Elk feed grounds were started more than a century ago to provide extra food during tough winters. But with increased spread of chronic wasting disease, a fatal neurological condition, the practice has become riskier. John Lund, Regional Wildlife Supervisor for the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, said the department released an elk feed grounds management plan last year to help navigate the evolving situation.
The primary goal of that plan was to evaluate our feed grounds and look for ways that we can reduce reliance of elk and ultimately figure out how to reduce the potential for disease spread in those feed grounds.
Today, feed grounds are used to address modern challenges for elk, including habitats, fragmentation by highways, and human development. Lund pointed out they also help ranchers who want to avoid elk eating their cattle feed and disease spread to their herds. According to the plan, the Scab Creek feed ground, where the chronic wasting disease positive carcass was found, had an average population of 800 elk during winters between 2020 and 2023. That's about 300 more than the state's quota.
We're taking disease sampling whenever we can on those feed grounds, removing dead carcasses that show any kind of disease symptoms or anything like that, trying to remove them from the landscape.
A 2024 U.S. Geological Survey reported modeled population predictions of the state's Jackson elk herd 20 years from now. Under 5 different feeding practices, the continued feeding option was predicted to have the most severe consequences. At herd at less than half its current size and the spread of chronic wasting disease to 35% of its remaining elk. Vaccination bills are popping up in more than 15 states as lawmakers aim to potentially resurrect or create new religious exemptions from immunization mandates, establish state-level vaccine injury databases, or dictate what providers must tell patients about the shots. In Wyoming, a proposed bill would prohibit discrimination against people who aren't vaccinated against COVID-19 or other diseases. Many see a political opportunity to rewrite policies in their states during President Donald Trump's administration, and if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is confirmed as the next Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Childhood vaccination rates against dangerous infections have fallen nationwide. A new poll by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs research says about half of Americans are very or extremely concerned that those declining childhood vaccination rates will lead to more outbreaks. The Idaho Department of Education has $86 million more thanks to the state's sale of bonds. According to a news release from the department, the $86.5 million will be spread out among Idaho school districts to fund facilities. The money is in addition to the $1 billion already planned to go to districts. Specifically, the funds will go towards things like replacing roofs and repairing HVAC systems. The bond sale and funding was made possible by House Bill 521, which passed the legislature last year. Thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to The Morning Headlines for January 29th, 2025. More news, interviews, and great content are available on our podcast feed. Search for BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast apps. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also ask your smart speakers to play KBYI 94.3 FM. Have a great day. This is BYU-Idaho Radio, and I'm Brianna Latouche.